What's up, guys? This is Theo here coming to you live with another coding tutorial. So I'm in my GitHub repo for the Angular 2 seed, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create and use an Angular 2 service. And in this service, all we're going to do is grab some users and display them out onto a template. So my only forewarning is that not all of this is super up to date with the release candidate, so I'll probably make an updated one. But I just wanted to, I just started getting back into Angular 2, and I wanted to show you guys. It's going to be the same process with the release candidate to create a service like this, except for the names of the imports might be a little different. But anyway, so I'm going to go into my desktop, and I'm going to clone my repo that I have set up. I'm going to do git clone Angular 2 seed. Let me remove the Angular 2 seed right there. And let me just remove it from my desktop real quick. And then go back out. Try that one more time. There we go. I'm cloning into it. And I'm going to use Visual Studio Code, but really you can use whatever you want. Clear that out of here, and then I'm going to open this up in Visual Studio Code. And I'm going to start the TypeScript server and the Angular Lite server by running npm start. Well, first we should do npm install update -- save as the flag, and let that run for a little bit. Going to go grab all of our node modules, and like I mentioned before, a lot of the modules here in my package.json aren't the most up-to-date ones. I think like the router and just now how pretty sure all of these have changed to Angular 2 router or Angular 2 common, whatever it might be. But I'll probably update the seed project, but you can see sort of npm start. What that does is that's going to run the TypeScript compiler and the Lite server, but you can add scripts to this, you can add whatever you want, and while this is loading, let me see, what did it say? Let me just do npm install -- I don't know what, give me an error. Here in our typings, we just have Jasmine node. In this tsconfig, this is just compiler options, saying that we want to compile our code down to ECMAScript 5, so just the common JavaScript that we know, ES6. And these are just all key and value pairs. You can change these. System.js, config.js, all this is doing is creating a map, right? And we're passing some keys, passing arch.js, some package names, and we're registering them with our system loader. And then what's happening is inside of our typings, let me see if I can find it, right? So we have Jasmine, if we want to run any test, but more than that, inside of our index, what's happening is we're grabbing the system, which is right here, this global, we're importing our app, which is in the system, and then what's going to happen there, that's just grabbing in all the functionality, and then we're going to let Angular take over from where we bootstrap the app, which is right in here. We're importing bootstrap, and we're importing our app component, and then this bootstrap method will tell Angular 2 that this is what we want as the entry point for our application. And so you can sort of see, here's our app component. Cool. And so let's try and run it real quick. I think I just have a very basic, what does it say? Oh, sorry, cp2. Man, sorry about that. I was in the wrong directory. That's what I was getting in there. But maybe I'll just go and write this component again for you guys, just from scratch while we're waiting. So in order to create a component, we're just going to call it my first component. We need to import the component module. That's going to be from Angular core. And I also want to implement a few lifecycle hooks. So we want to implement on init and on destroy. So when the component is created and when it's deleted, we're going to implement these hooks. And Visual Studio Code provides a lot of IntelliSense, which is pretty awesome. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to provide some metadata, which is just some data about our component, the component we're creating. So we're going to give it a selector, which this is just the HTML selector, and this selector is going to be my first component. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to give it a module ID, which will allow us to use this as a key to create a template URL. We'll just give this module.id, and then that's all we need for that. Oh, well, we need our template URL as well. And for that, I'm going to do app.component.html. So we're going to create that. So now that we have that, we actually have to export the class. And this is TypeScript, if you're not sure what this is. And it's going to compile down to JavaScript. So we're going to export this class, and we're going to call it app component, right? And on this class, we're going to give it a constructor, all right? And then we're also going to have it implement these lifecycle hooks. So on init, and on destroy. And now it's complaining because we haven't implemented the lifecycle hooks. So we're going to do ng on init. Now it should stop complaining for that one. And we're going to do ng on destroy. Right. And we can do very basic logging. Component has mounted. And component is about to be destroyed. All right, and in here we can create a variable called public. Title equals hello world component. Well, let's just do this. We'll do give public title, which is going to be a string. Then inside of our constructor, we can set title to be equal to hello world component, and that's complaining because it wants this title. So now that we have that, that should all be good, but what we want to do inside of here is we call it my first component. So we're going to go in here and change this to be my first component. All right, and inside of here we can say loading. All right, cool. Now let's run our application with npm start. Now it's going to run it. And cool, so here it's running, loading. Welcome to the Angular 2 seed. All right, cool. So now what we want to do, let's go back here, and the reason why it's saying that is because we have app.component.html. That's our HTML we gave it, right? But what we actually want to do is output this title, and we'll just say, give it a div container, div.row, div.column medium 6, div.jumbotron, and h3, and we'll just say the title of this component is, and we'll say we'll bind title. Now if we go back in here, the title of this component is hello world component. And just to prove to you guys that it is indeed working, I can show you. We can go back into here and say hello world component is working. Save our work. This will reload, and hello world component is working. Cool. So now on to the exciting part. Let's create a service. So I'm going to go in here and say first service.ts, and from here we're going to import injectable, which is just more metadata that allows us to inject this service into any component we have as a provider. So we're going to say Angular, again, core. And so in our service, we'll export a class called first service. And all this is going to do is going to have a simple method on it called get users. And it's just going to return, what is this going to return? Or get users. This can, this will return, let's see, public, or we'll do public users is an array of any, right? And then we will return just set users to be equal to an array of objects. So change this to this.users, and users, this.users, and then we'll return it at the end. So we'll do name is Theo, age is 23, and let me grab these real quick. Name is Rick, age is 25, and name is John, age is 26. At the very end, we can return this.users. Cool. So now that we have that, guys, let's come back in here, and the way we're going to get this into our component is we're going to pass it another key of providers, which is an array, and we're going to say first service. Notice it's complaining, right? So now we got to import this. We'll say import first service from first service. So when you leave off the suffix like .ts, it's going to assume TypeScript. So now that we have that, right, that's cool. But let's create a variable public users. We'll set that equal to be an array of type any, right? And then from here, inside of our constructor, say public. I don't care about making it public right now. It's not a big deal. So we'll say user service, and inside of our constructor, we'll say user service is first service. We'll pass it an instance of that, and then we'll just say this dot user service is equal to the user's service. We passed in, and from there, when it's being initialized, we can then set this dot users to be equal to users. This dot users service dot get users. Let me see. User service. Actually, I'm going to do it like this, and this isn't the best way. This dot user service is equal to a new, just because we're going to use it in one place, otherwise we wouldn't implement this. So new users, or new first service, and then we're going to say this dot users service dot get users, and what is this? Dot user service public constructor. Say this dot user service dot get users, and let's go back here. Export class. Class first service. Oh, my bad. So that we gotta actually decorate it with injectable. My bad. And from there, we should be able to see our method this time. So we can do this dot user service dot get users. No, let's see if it's working. Huh? First service. User service. New first service, and dot get users. Okay. So again, I know that's not the best way of creating an instance right there, but I just want to show you guys how to do it. Okay, so cool. Now let's actually loop over our users, right, and see if we get them back. So we're going to create a UL and an LI, and we're going to do ng4, which is just a for loop. We'll say let user of users. Okay, we'll do user dot name, and then we'll do user dot age. And let's see if we get this back from our service. There we go. It is indeed working. Let's try and put one more method on here. We can do, let's see, we can do, let's see, remove first, or remove last. And all this will do is this will return this.users.pop, and just very simple implementation. And so now, watch this. We can do, we can create a button in here. The end of our users, we can create a button. Or sorry, at the end of here, create a button, and we wire up a click event to it, and we can set, we can listen for a click, and we can say, okay, when there is a click, then what we want to do is we're going to call move user. So we're going to handle that with our service, our remove user, and that's going to go into remove last. So move last is going to call the user service, or sorry, this dot user service dot remove last. Okay, and let's check this out, guys. Let's go in here and try this, style this up a little bit better, and give this a class of button danger. Let's see if this works for us. See if our functionality is going to work. Class equals button danger. Last. Guess I don't have bootstrap in there, but let's see if this works. Last. It is not working. Let me see what I'm doing wrong. Click. Up component 10 to 32. Button, click. Remove user. Click. And remove user. So in here. Oh, sorry. Remove user. And now this should work. Okay, so let's see if this works. No, let me see why not. So remove user is not a function. Ah, okay. Again, I'm spelling it wrong. Let's try it one more time. Remove last. There we go. There we go. Awesome. So our user service gathers the data, it makes the call from the component, it pops off one element from the array, and there you have it, guys. So yeah, again, I'm kind of rusty with the Angular 2, but definitely enjoyed doing that video for you guys. So if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, and please subscribe to support the channel. And look forward to seeing new videos from me on Angular 2. So thanks, guys, and have a great night.